All right, guys. So we're going to continue on looking at different civilizations in world history. And today we're going to go to a region of the world we're going to end up talking a lot about, and that is South Asia. Now, South Asia means India. So anytime we talk about South Asia, sorry about that, this is the region of the world we're looking at. And it's not just India. It is the modern day states of India, Pakistan, and also Bangladesh, if you know anything about that. And we're also going to touch a little bit on Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is going to share many of the same traits of South Asia. So we're going to lump a lot of that together, but the emphasis today is going to be on South Asia. So let's jump in. So the geography of South Asia, the GNRG Persia. South Asia is isolated from the rest of Asia. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, it's a peninsula. So on three sides, it's surrounded by water. It's surrounded by the Indian Ocean, the third largest ocean in the world. The other reason it's cut off is most of the land adjacent to South Asia is either very, very, very large mountains or desert. Especially famous on Southeast Asia's northern borders is the Himalayas, which most famously have Mount Everest on them. So these are not small mountains. So if I go back a slide, if you're in South Asia and you're right here, you might only be 20 miles away from East Asia as the crow flies. Between you and East Asia is an enormously large, tall, completely impassable mountain range. So even though you might be 20 miles away as the crow flies, in reality, you are thousands and thousands of miles away from East Asia as far as being able to effectively travel it. Because South Asia is so cut off from the rest of the world, it is frequently referred to as being a subcontinent. And because it was so cut off for so long, it leads to unique traits in South Asia that you won't see anywhere else in the world. You'll see two very unique and important religions come out of South Asia. You'll see unique cultures, unique ethnicities, and unique languages. And a lot of people are surprised to find out that there are lots and lots of different ethnicities and lots of different languages in India. This is a really good rule of thumb as far as thinking about India. India is the size of Europe. When you look at Europe, you've got lots of different people who vaguely look alike, who are Caucasian, but within that you have lots of different ethnicities. You have lots of different people who speak lots of different languages, and that's very similar in India. So to the west, the ethnicities might look somewhat similar, but South Asia is a very ethnically and linguistically diverse place. And it's not where there's one or two languages spoken throughout it historically, and there's not just one or two ethnicities in South Asia. Now, the key to getting in or out of South Asia is there's one pass in the mountain ranges. This is called the Khyber Pass. Whoever controls the Khyber Pass controls the way in and controls the way out by land. And historically, this is very, very important territory to control. The most important thing that goes through the Khyber Pass is the Silk Road itself. By 1200, South Asia is back to being reconnected with the rest of the world through long distance trade, which means it will benefit from all the things that groups of people who trade long distances benefit from, including language, exposure to other people's resources and culture and luxury goods. And they're also going to send things outside of South Asia that's going to have a dramatic impact on other groups of people as well. most famously one of their religions, and we'll get to that as we continue. Now, politically, lots of times we're really interested in groups of people's political systems. We are not that interested in South Asian political systems in 1200 because the type of political system we're most interested in is large empires. And in this unit, there's never a time period where India is politically united into one big, strong, powerful empire. India is organized into smaller regional kingdoms, and the group of people who Indians most oftentimes fight with will be other Indians because of this. South Asian empires are very rare for this period, which doesn't mean there's not some temporary flash in the pan things, but we aren't going to spend much time on that. So when we're talking about South Asia, yes, they have all the traits of a civilization. They don't necessarily have all the political traits of an empire, and because of that, we're just not that focused on them right now. Economics, they're going to be engaged in long distance trade on both the Silk Road and on the Indian Ocean. So, amongst other groups of people, if I said, hey, who are one group of people that the South Asians are connected with by trade, you should have answered East Asia and the Chinese and Muslims in the Middle East. They're connected to both of those groups of people, both by land-based trade and by sea-based trade. And because they're very active in global trade, they're going to be a very advanced group of people. Now, we've talked about this before. If you're going to trade stuff long distances, those goods are going to tend to be luxury goods, extremely valuable goods that people are going to be willing to come a long distance to get and to pay a very, very hefty price for. And the two traditional exports of South Asia that people are willing to travel thousands of miles over risky journeys to get and pay very, very expensive amounts of money in trade goods for are spices. Most famously, the most important spice that South Asia will export is going to be black pepper. Now, you might say, pepper, what's the big deal about that? Well, in a world and time where we didn't have the ability to refrigerate meat and keep meat good for long distances of time, spices, especially pepper, were a masking agent for that. And if you were someone in Europe or North Africa or China and you brought out the black pepper at your fancy meal, that was an incredible status symbol. The other famous export of South Asia are these beautiful multicolored cotton textiles. A textile is cloth, brightly colored cotton cloth. If you think of your very, very, very stereotypical Bollywood movie, and you think of all the beautifully woven cloths that are in that, that's been a traditional export of South Asia for thousands and thousands of years. It's beautiful. And cotton is an extremely comfortable garment, as we all know, because we're all probably wearing clothes, at least partially made out of cotton. And South Asia was the only group of people who had the ability to mass produce cotton because they had a special type of cotton at this point, and they made it a fine craft to weave it into these bright, beautiful, vibrant colors, and they shipped it everywhere. And the nice thing about a cotton textile is it's very, very light. So it's an expensive good, but it's a light good, and you can put a lot of worth in cotton textiles on the back of a camel or in a ship to take long distances. So these are the big things that they're exporting to other groups of people. Now, religion. There are three important religious practices in South Asia by 1200. Like with Islam, like with Confucianism, like with Taoism, I'm not going to give you a ton about the religious beliefs because that's not something that we particularly care about. However, I do want you to be exposed to the basic ideas. The most important religious belief in South Asia is Hinduism. Traditionally, this will be the most widely practiced religion in South Asia and in India today. even today. So, and Hinduism goes back thousands and thousands of years. There are some people who made the claim that Hinduism is the oldest continually practiced religion in world history. And the basic teaching of Hinduism is the cycles of rebirth. If you live, and I'm grossly simplifying this into, because we just don't have to spend too much time on this. The basic idea is this: live a good life. And we'll talk about in just a little bit what living a good life means. Live a good life, and when you die, you will come back as a higher being. Live a poor life, and you'll come back in the next life as a lower being. And the ultimate goal is to continue to ascend through those cycles of reincarnation and rebirth. Hinduism is only a religion you see in South and Southeast Asia. It is not a missionary religion. You've never had someone knock on your door and say, let me try to convert you to Hinduism. There are no such thing as Hindu missionaries. This is a religion that is specifically tied to one group of people. The most important thing you need to know about Hinduism is it's closely tied to a unique set of social structures that we'll talk about in just a little bit, the caste system. The caste system and Hinduism are interwoven with one another, and the two, you can't have one without the other in South Asia. The second big set of religious beliefs we need to talk about is Buddhism. Buddhism originated in India. It originated about 400 BC, 400 years before the birth of Christ. And it was founded as a spin-off religion of Hinduism. Because of that, Buddhism and Hinduism do share some common beliefs, like the cycles of rebirth and reincarnation. But in Buddhism, the ultimate goal is to escape the cycles of rebirth and achieve nirvana. The founder of Buddhism is a man named Gautama Buddha. He does not claim to be some sort of deity. He's kind of to Buddhism like Muhammad is to Islam. He says, I'm the one who has this special revelation. Follow me. While we're here, there's only one religion in world history where the founder claims to be divine, and that's Christianity with Jesus, where Jesus says, I am the Son of God. Muhammad doesn't claim divinity. Buddha doesn't claim divinity. They just claim they have a special dispensation and that they are great teachers, and if you follow them, you can achieve spiritual advancement. Buddhism is a missionary religion, and it will actively try to gain followers. And as we've already started to learn, Buddhism will spread outside of South Asia to other regions over trade routes by merchants and missionaries. One of those places being East Asia. We talked about Buddhism in China, and it will also spread to Southeast Asia. However, one thing is very interesting about Buddhism. Yes, it was founded in India. Yes, it is a major global religion in the world by 1200 and even today, but by 1200, Buddhism was in decline in India itself. There are more followers of Buddhism in other regions of the world than there would have been in India, and I should say South Asia by this point. The third religion that we need to talk about is a foreign religion that has started to come into South Asia, and that is Islam. We talked about Islam yesterday in its spread. Well, by 1200, a group of migrants, Turkish migrants, and we'll talk about the Turkish migration later in this class. Just know that there was a group of nomads who had converted to Islam, had come into South Asia, and they had conquered a bunch of land, and they had built their own state. And we're going to call this state the Delhi Sultanate. These Turks, the most important thing they do, however, is they bring Islam into India, and it's important that you know that they bring it in by conquest. Conquest is how it comes originally. Later on, Hindu Islam will continue to spread amongst groups of people in South Asia through the work of Sufis. Sufis are special Muslim missionaries who we're going to talk more about in the next couple of days as far as what their particular role is. But a Sufi is a very devout Muslim missionary who is taken on a life of poverty, kind of like a Catholic priest. and is attempting to spread the religion through good deeds. So it originally spreads by conquest, but then there's a secondary spread in India through the work of Sufi missionaries. Now, because Islam spreads to South Asia originally by conflict, there's always going to be conflict between Muslims and Hindus in South Asia. It starts by this region with the creation of this outside state, the Delhi Sultanate, and unfortunately, and for lots of reasons, some of which we'll learn in future classes way down the road, Muslim and Hindu conflict continues to be a thing in South Asia even to this day. This is a map of the Delhi Sultanate, just so you know. So this is one state in India, and like we said, what makes this state unique is it is a Muslim-controlled state. Turks, who are a foreign ethnicity, are the leaders of this state. So unlike many other regions in India, that'll be Hindus living in kingdoms and by native South Asians, this is a foreign state that's practicing a foreign religion, and it is in conflict. Know this, it is in constant conflict with other South Asian states during this time. Now, if you know anything about South Asia and you looked at this map, you would also know that this is the region of India and Pakistan and Bangladesh that are the most Muslim even to this day. This is the region in South Asia that tends to be the most Muslim all the way up to this time period. And this was something that was started way back by 12 AD. Social systems. All right. The most important thing to know about South Asia is they have a unique set of social hierarchy called the caste system. The caste system is a system where the group of people, the class of people you're born into, and I should say caste, but using a term you know, is the group of people you stay in your whole life. If your father was a farmer and you were born into being a farmer, you're going to be a farmer the rest of your life. And you're going to live with farmers, and you're going to marry the daughter of a farmer. And you're going to work as a farmer your whole life. There are various different castes, and there's a rigid hierarchy. The reason we associate the caste system with Hinduism is the top caste of people are the Brahmins, and Brahmins are Hindu priests. And here is the basic premise of Hinduism and the caste system. If you live a good life, I told you would spiritually advance. What that means is you'll come back in a higher caste. That's the goal. And ultimately, this system brings about social stability. And here's how. Let's say you're a member of some cruddy lower caste. You're the garbage collector caste or whatever it is. Why would you be willing to stay in that caste your whole life? And the reason is the religious leaders are teaching you. You be the best member of your caste. And that's what living a good life is right now. And don't rock the boat. And in the next life, you'll come back as a higher being. So yes, you might be in a cruddy caste right now, the religion and the caste system teaches, but be the best member of your caste, and that's how you achieve social mobility, and you rise up through the caste system through multiple lifetimes. There are some people who are so low in the caste system that they're actually without a caste. These are called the untouchables. The untouchables are the people who do the worst jobs in India. They are the ones without caste. They are the outcasts. They're ceremonially unclean. But even the untouchables were taught, be the best member of this group of people that you can be, and in the next life, you'll rise through the system. So it's a system like in China that is designed to create stability. Everybody just try to be the best member of your caste. Don't look with envious eyes towards others, and we can have a system that'll be stable. Patriarchy is a thing in South Asia. The only region in the world that can rival East Asia, for how patriarchal they are is South Asia. There's two examples of patriarchal practices that you see. First one is sati. Sati is the practice where when a powerful, wealthy member of an upper caste dies, what would generally happen is they would have a funeral for that person, and they would burn the corpse, and the whole town would come out to the funeral to watch the corpse being burned. In South Asia, in certain regions amongst upper castes, the expectation is the widow would practice sati, and sati is jump on the fire of the corpse of their widow and commit ritual suicide. That's about as patriarchal of a practice as you can possibly have. And also child marriage. Oftentimes, very, very, very young girls were married at the ages even as young as 9 or 10 among the upper castes. And again, we've talked about this in other class periods. Practices that restrict and limit women tend to be practices of the upper classes in societies and are not uniformly practiced. You would not have seen a low caste woman commit sati for her husband, and you were much less likely to see child marriage amongst younger groups of people. Innovations. South Asia is an incredibly innovative place. I want to focus on their innovations in mathematics. Their number one innovation they've made that we use even today is the number system we use, originally called Hindu numerals. We in the West call them Arabic numerals because Arabs got them from South Asia, and then the Western Europe got them from the Middle East. So from people in Western Europe, they got it from the Arab world, so they called them Arabic numerals. The Arab world did not create this. This was something that spread to Islam. It was created in South Asia. And the idea of having a number system based on columns of 110s and hundreds, and the inverse of that, the idea of having a decimal system. These are all South Asian mathematical innovations. Because they have super advanced and because they're tied to the Muslim world through trade, and eventually things like trigonometry reach South Asia, incredible pieces of architecture and incredible pieces of engineering are a trait of this region. All right, so classwork today. AP wants you to know an example of one empire in South or Southeast Asia. I'm going to give you an empire in Southeast Asia, and it's called Srivijaya. Srivijaya is a Buddhist Southeast Asian empire on the Indian Ocean in modern-day Indonesia. And here's what I want you to do. Just using everything that I have taught you up to this point, I want you to fill out your own G Persia for Srivijaya. Okay, so here's their geography, but then you fill out a P for them politically and economically and religiously, which I just gave you. They're Buddhist and socially in their innovations and their art and architecture. And originally you might be, I don't know anything. And then the light bulb will come on like, wait, actually I know a lot. So I want you to come up with your own G Persia on Srivijaya, and you shouldn't have to look up anything anywhere except in your notes about things we've talked about. And again, the key is Srivijaya is an example of an empire. So you do that. Let's see who has the light bulb come on. And I will see you guys in the next couple of days.